Good morning, friends, and welcome back to AmandaMuse. Coming at you live today on a beautiful Monday. It's gorgeous, long weekend. I think pretty much long weekend. At least I think it's a long weekend. My whole family's off. We just celebrated Canada Day, and I know in the US you guys also have a pretty long weekend happening right now. So today I wanted to talk about is it controversial? It might be, but I want to talk about fame and clickbait in YouTube, because you see a lot of stuff in the headlines these days about what's going on in YouTube, and it's pretty devastating, to be honest, especially amongst the younger generation. And so if you're new, by the way, please subscribe. I put out videos 3 times a week, Mondays live, Wednesdays and Fridays. And hello, Alona in Sweden. Little tiny disclaimer, it is summer, so the kids are home, like right there. And they might come in and play, who knows? You never know with live, it's like, we'll see how it goes. But I'm sure, unless you're living under a rock or maybe just not paying attention to news, which I get because the news can be pretty devastating. Hi Bella in Switzerland. You know, recently there was this very devastating situation where a YouTube channel, one partner, where they were playing a stunt, and the one partner ended up killing her boyfriend, her husband, and pretty upset. Hi Jessica, hi Diana. That's right, a lot of you are off, so you can watch it live. Hello from Austria, how amazing. And so, without going into it, because if you haven't, Eileen, if you haven't heard about this, it's devastating. So I'll just give you the Coles notes because I haven't done all of my research, but the top points are that they were a young couple. They have a 3-year-old. The woman was expecting, I think she was about 19 years old, and she was expecting her second child, and they just wanted to like make it big on YouTube, and stunts are all the rage. And I would say they're probably like a family vlogging channel, I'm assuming. Don't quote me on that because I haven't looked up their channel. And the stunt was they had a gun, and as a Canadian, I don't know much about guns, to be honest. I don't pay attention, it's not my thing. And also I'm from Montreal. I'm not really like wheeling a gun, you know? But they had a certain type of gun. I wanna say it's a Desert Storm, which is it a handgun? Oh God, I shouldn't even be talking about guns, but anyway. Very dangerous, basically, a very powerful weapon. And the boy, he's a boy because he's like 19. Anyway, the man held a book, and the whole thing was that she was gonna shoot him in the book, and the book was gonna stop the bullet. I don't, like, where is the logic? So that's devastating, and he died. So now this woman is being charged with manslaughter, I believe. She's probably gonna go to jail. Like, I don't know how the system works in the US, but anyway, it's some like very tragic information, because first of all, why didn't anyone stop this from happening? There's one. You know, these children are now gonna have probably no parents, or at least like one, but maybe not for a long time. Yeah, Jessica, it's pretty horrific stuff. Like if, Kimberly was saying it's the largest handgun you can use. Wow. You know, I'm thinking like, yeah, you never point a gun at anything you don't want to hunt, hurt, or kill. Apparently his or her mom tried to tell them not to. Yes, I was watching Phil DeFranco. You guys know I love the Phil DeFranco show, and he covered this, and I just watched his video just before. It honestly gives me chills, because I think what is so upsetting, and what I want to talk about today really, is the underlying issue of this hunt for being viral, for being, and a little about a lot was saying there were 30 people watching too, and their child. That's the part that I wasn't sure. I did hear a rumor, if I'm not mistaken, they were both 19, and there was 30 people watching this go down. Like, how did nobody stop them? I don't understand. And why didn't he hold it in front of his hand or something? Like, the main organ area, it's just crazy. So, but again, coming back to like why I find this so horrific, aside from the loss of life, which is the most horrific part of it, but it's this, and you see it so much in every little piece of the internet, is this hunt for going viral, this hunt for fame. And I feel like with children especially, they don't understand differentiating their value and their worth as people unless they have likes and followers and subscribers. And this is very, very upsetting. So, I have a daughter looking in on the window. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. She said, okay. So how nice is that? So you may have noticed, now to talk about it from my perspective, I've been on YouTube now for 5 years, and I've made all sorts of different types of content, but I certainly started out documenting my life as a mom and my child and milestones and developments. And then as my children get older and change, I find that my interests change, as is normal human nature, and therefore the content on my channel changes. And recently, I had decided to stop making weekly vlogs, and I used to make one video, well, I made a bunch of videos a week, but one of them was basically a week in my life with all of the things. Oh, Kimberly was saying there's some theories about the husband tricked her. Oh my, I hope that's not true. There's the thought that they think that maybe the husband tricked the woman into killing him. I don't know, I haven't heard any of these controversial theories. But anyhow, back to like this vlogging thing. So I stopped making weekly vlogs for a few reasons, but the main one is that I found that my children are getting older now. My daughter's 5, and really becoming aware of the camera and watching YouTube Kids herself and starting to understand this concept of like, I remember she's been asking me lately, like, how many subscribers do you have, Mom? I'm thinking, that's a weird question from a 5-year-old, but it really kicks in quick. And I want to make sure that they live a life that is filled with a lot of stuff that's real, that's tangible, it's visceral, you know, real life. And so I've had this thought, and I made the change, and I know that a lot of my viewers weren't too thrilled about this because they were here for the vlogs, and I get that, but I've never been a vlogging channel. It just kind of happened that way. Emily was asking, have they shown an interest in making videos too? Esme talks about it. We actually started this little toy channel a couple of years ago, but then I realized it wasn't my vibe, and it's just not something I want to pursue with my children. And so yesterday, I was planning out talking about this video, and then yesterday I was sitting on Facebook just scrolling as you do, and this video popped up, which I just shared over on my Facebook page. So if you've missed it after this video, go watch it. And it's a satire, and it's CBC, which is a Canadian network, and they shared this satire about this family where it's a mom and dad, 2 kids, and all of them are on social media. And it's actually sickened me to the core. Like, I honestly was almost weepy after watching this, where they were all like, oh, we're having the best time ever, and then they're like Insta-storying their food, and everybody's Insta-storying, and nobody's like talking to each other, and then they interview the boy, and it's a joke, right? Like, satire is kind of like a dark humor, and then they interview the one child, the youngest boy, and he's like, you know, I'm not really into social media, but my parents think I should have a big following by the time I'm 18, and I was like, oh my God, like, it was horrible. And it just really, I don't know, it was like putting a mirror in front of my face. And I have to say, like, I don't force my kids on social media. I don't even think I like actually act in a way that's really like that. In fact, I'm still 5 years in, I still am taking like secret Insta stories, so like I don't bother the rhythm and the flow of my family. But you do see it so much where people, the lines are blurry between living an authentic life, like for real, just living, breathing, arguing, loving, fighting, crying, all the normal things that happen in real life, and then what you're going to be curating and what you're going to be making for YouTube for entertainment. And it's just like, so, you know, if you look at money making, ways to make money on YouTube, sure, you've got clickbait, you've got catchy thumbnails, something that has always irked me, and maybe I'm gonna be too honest in this video, but like, okay, so when I broke my finger last summer, like the tip of my finger, it was really not a good thing to do, and I remember being in the hospital, and I was like, yeah, it's just me. I'll show that I'm in the hospital, and like, just so you guys are up to speed. But when my daughter broke something, I can't remember, I mean, kids hurt themselves, but I don't remember if I've ever done a clickbaity thing. I'm sure I have because it works, but to always be like, we're in the hospital and there's blood and everyone's upset, and really it's just like a stubbed toe. That drives me crazy. You know what I mean? Oh, Dancing in the Road, did anyone hear about that family that were investigated for child abuse after what they did to their kids for views? I don't have a follow-up on that. I know I talked about that here live. I think I did anyhow, about that family that were really abusing their children, and it was all for views, and it was really messed up. I don't have an update, but it's a same vein, right? It's like, where do we draw the line? And I suppose people are always going to watch this. Yeah, Elle, exactly. But people are always going to watch clickbaity stuff. It's like watching a car crash. If you're on the highway, you're gonna slow down and see the car crash and then speed up as you carry on. It's human nature. But at what point do you start like believing your own BS? That's what I struggle with. Like, when do you start to think that you're so great, exploiting your kids for likes? No bueno, exactly. Like, I don't know, it's a fine line. And I even get muddled talking about it. Lauren was saying right there with you about clickbait, it's ridiculous, and I'll also unfollow. I'm the same. I don't personally find that interesting. In real life, I'm a very chill person. I like to drink a coffee slow. I like to just be, I don't know, I like to scroll on Facebook. I like to just exist. If you are drama, you are not in my life. And so that's the same thing with what I consume. Am I right? So I really struggle with that. And then I suppose being a person who dabbles in a few different genres, but definitely I'm a mom. And so I talk about parenting stuff. I really struggle with families getting channels for their children. I don't know. I feel like it's just bad news. I don't feel like it's gonna go anywhere good, because if you wanna get scientific, my hair just got all weird, so deal with it. But if you want to get scientific, like, children's brains are not fully formed, right? This little area where they don't understand consequence, there's things that they can't quite grasp. And when you are starting to, especially with daughters, maybe because my daughter is older, I see it a lot, but body image, self-worth, you know, like, it's very important to be conscious of that. And I don't know if there's a way to have a child's channel and do that. Truthfully, I don't know. I haven't seen it done. It's still very new in terms of entertainment. And so it'll be interesting, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out in the end. I apologize if this video is a little bit all over the place, but it's just thoughts, you know? Eileen, it teaches them how to find self-worth and how many people are following them and planting the insecurity seed. Absolutely. Exactly. And I think, you know, I always come back to, if you're going to create content, because it's ironic that I'm talking about this, because I also create content around my family, around my children, around my life. But I feel like if you're documenting rather than curating, and by curating I mean creating content, if you're living just to live and not necessarily like living for the vlog, do you know what I mean? I think that's interesting, and I will watch those videos because I enjoy it, because it's just like witnessing life, you know? And I think that's kind of fun to be a part of, and also can really be a source of positive inspiration. Yes, Elle, I was just talking about that at the beginning. It's horrific, the tragedy with the YouTuber. And you know what the sad part is, going back to what we were initially talking about, is that I think that channel, the theory worked. They went from something like 200 subs to 4,000. I don't know what they're at now, but it's very scary. And so, you know, am I a fan of social media? Duh, yes, of course. My children have iPads, they play with them. I monitor as much as I can, but I am not the best at it, because it's kind of like a babysitter sometimes, let's be honest. I'm just real like everybody else. But I feel like you have to draw the line. And, you know, when my children and my family say things like, put your phone down, I listen and I put the phone down. And that's something I'm working on right now, is establishing appropriate work-life balance where I am creating and documenting, and then I stop, and then I also live my life, you know? And so it's something I feel like the conversation will continue as we go forward, because it'll be very interesting to see how families adapt. You know, if your fame, if you will, is entirely based on documenting your children, what's your end game? Because guess what? Children grow up, right? And how are you going to carry on, and how are you going to keep going? And I struggle with that. It's almost like humor when it's based on making fun of other people. Is that really humor? Are you really a comedian if all you're doing is teasing and mocking other people? I'm not really sure. So it's unfortunate, because if we want to be real, like, those huge channels, those big family channels who are like thousands and thousands of views, are making thousands and thousands of dollars. So it's a difficult thing to stop, because you don't want to stop that gravy train. Am I right? But yeah, I feel like we're at a point where, are there really rules established about, you know, how this will impact our children? You know, I don't know. So, and I often joke, like, I had my sister here for the weekend, and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to pick up the camera, because I was living my life, you know, because I was actually spending time with my sister, and she is not a person of the internet. And so for her to be like, let's act natural with a camera in our faces, no, not everybody does that. However, when I am with people who are part of the social media thing and having YouTube channels, it's fun, and they know what to do, and they are able to balance out life. So I think it's just, I think, being conscious of it. So that was my little food for thought. I'll be interested to see in the replay some of the comments that pop up, but for now, Ashley was saying, yeah, they aren't even relatable anymore when they show off everything they purchase and spoil their kids rotten. Poor things are gonna have issues. Yeah, and I think, you know, let's be honest, like, you know, being a creator, and I'm not even the biggest channel, my goodness me, you get stuff sent to you for free all the time. And so, like, are we teaching, how do you teach us balance? Like, how do you establish value when it's just like, yeah, you post a photo and then brands send you stuff? You know, it's tricky. How do you teach a 5-year-old that they're actually working already? Yeah, and I you know, I don't mean to insult people, because I have a lot of friends who do this. It's just, that's my opinion, and truthfully, I would tell you if you were standing in front of me and share my concerns about those types of videos. So I just think sometimes you need to step away from yourself and go like, what are my goals? Yeah, Laura, she has issues with the thumbnails about kids' emergencies and children getting hurt. It just seems so exploited. This is true. Just as an example, so I took Jackie for a walk. So my son is 3, and we went for a walk, and he fell down into a puddle. And when he stood up, he was just like wet and crying. And I laughed so hard at this picture, because like, what's that humor called when you have like a chuckle? It was hilarious. Like, he wasn't laughing, so obviously I stopped laughing. But I did take a picture because it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. And I was like, I should post this, it's hilarious. And you know, in the end I didn't, because I thought, that's not respectful. You know, he's 3. He's not having a say right now in how I'm sharing his life online. And I'm very aware of that, because he will get older and the internet is forever. And how will he feel about some of the choices I've made? And I'm very aware of that. You know, my relationship with my family is very important, and I want them to feel like they're respected as people, and that I didn't just like exploit them because they're cute, you know? So I think that there's a time limit about when you can talk on behalf of your children, and I think that we need to have that discussion more often about when's appropriate. But the reality is people will consume the content, and so it's tricky to actually stop. Eileen was saying, and you chose to be his mom when he fell. Absolutely. Yeah, so anyway, that's my food for thought today. It's a new realm. Parents have never had to make these decisions. It's totally true. I think Ashley said that. You know, oh, and Green Pearl, thank you. She's saying, I appreciate the way you respect your kids being posted online. Oh my goodness, yes. I mean, there's things to be conscious of. Like, the internet is not full of good people. Unfortunately, there are bad people. And I had a situation yesterday, which I'm gonna talk about this week. It was pretty horrific. There was police involved. Yeah, so, and it just kind of makes it very real life, that like not everybody is good, and the type of videos and photos that people want to take of you and your children is not necessarily always going to be used for good things. And we really need to be aware of that, you know? Let's see here. Oh, a great comment by Madiha was saying, how about other people posting about your children online? That's a great thing, and I feel like it's very important to ask. So because I suppose I make content online, when I used to vlog regularly, I would make sure to ask everybody in the space, and even when my sister was here, I'm pretty sure I've asked her before, but I made sure to ask her again, are you okay with appearing in my vlog? Because I filmed like a long weekend vlog. I said, is it okay? She said, yes, we're good. Because it's my sister, I feel like I can take a verbal okay. If it's a dear friend, I feel like the same thing too. However, if you are filming something, especially if it's sponsored content, it's important to get it in writing. So for example, I had Patra, who's my assistant, in one of my videos, and I had her send me an email saying it was okay that I featured her, because it's very important to be respectful of people around you, and you can't always assume that everybody wants to be on camera. Maybe they don't feel good that day, or maybe they just prefer to lead a more private life, and that's okay, and it's not a negative thing, you know? So I hope that answered your question. I'll see if there's any more questions trickling in, and otherwise I'll wrap it up for today. But I think it's worthy of conversation for sure. And if anything, my husband really keeps me grounded with this, because it can be very exciting to post right? And you're like, oh my God, everyone loved that video. And yes, my son is the cutest kid ever. And so I want to post that photo. But sometimes my husband will be like, chill, put the phone down, live your life. Yes, so great comments coming in. I thank all of you for watching. I'm just about to hit 20 minutes, which is good enough. You guys have things to do. It's a beautiful day, at least where we are. And my daughter is full of mud and she needs a swimsuit. So thanks so much for watching. I'll be back on Wednesday and on Friday, and I can't decide which day, but I'm going to share with you this crazy story that happened. And that's that. So I'm seeing lots of comments. Would your vlogs change? Would you rather do only... Oh no, I'm gonna continue to do, by the way, in terms of the vlogs, if that's what you've loved, I will continue to do day in the life and a week in the life every now and then, but it will not be every week because I feel like my family just needs to live their life without a camera in their face, but I love them to bits, and so I like to show adventures, and I'll always do that. So bye guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you, well, I'll be live tomorrow on Tuesday if you wanna catch me there.